It is the fourth model introduced in the 2025 Shin Megami Tensei DVC03 collaboration with Medarot S, sporting the likeness of the powerful and legendary Azel from the series. This is DVC03, Pretend Azel, with a kit of minus chain shot, glitch rifle, double melt shot, multi-legs, and the leg ability of Pick On, which buffs all leg stats, minus armor and heavy limit, for every negative symptom that the user applies when attacking. Now, up to this point, Pretend Azel is actually an enemy that we have seen currently, at time of recording, as an enemy-only NPC. So it's not necessarily anything that we have not seen as of yet, and we already kind of have an idea on how he behaves. But he's still an exceptionally powerful model and very easily a brand new contender for the legendary title of Plague Master in the game, with everything he brings to his disposal, whether it be between one particular part which applies several ailments, or even another which can apply multiple stacks. Pretend Azel is definitely packing up to be an extraordinarily powerful Plague Master anytime he's on the field. Minus chain shot on the head part is a shooting skill, which is kind of a new skill, but also not really. More or less, it's just a shooting version of minus chain, which, explained simply, is an attack that increases its power for every negative symptom on the target that it checks when attacking, and that stack is times 1.5 for every symptom that it applies, which means that you can stack that to up to times 4 damage dealt if you can stack up to times 6, for the number of damage modifiers you can get times the number of symptoms applied. And since that only stacks up to 4, that can be extraordinarily powerful the longer that you're allowed to stay on the field, and especially if you can apply multiple symptoms to every target on the field more than once. The only problem, though, is the fact that Pretend Azel only has 3 uses of it, which means that once he runs out, he's going to be focusing more on just applying as many negative symptoms as possible, which, at that point, he'll just start overriding them more than actually doing anything. But, given how extraordinarily good he is at doing so, I really don't think that's going to be too much of a problem for him. Glitch Rifle on the right arm is a conventional shooting skill which has a very vast array of the number of negative symptoms that it can apply to a target when attacking. When attacking the target, it does give you the opportunity to stack 2 negative symptoms on a target when damaging them, and those symptoms can include the following: Tornado, Confusion, Level Drain, Unsuccess, Fire, Hold, Defense Seal, and Bug. So this rifle right here has a lot of very powerful ailments that it brings to the table, and the fact that you can stack 2 at once makes it extraordinarily dangerous. Just to explain each one briefly, Tornado is very good for stalling enemies and changing their leg type to flying, mostly good for anti-air coverage and counters. Confusion guarantees that the enemy in part cannot choose their next target or skill for the next 3 turns or until attacked, which means, again, they can't even potentially attack an ally or support an enemy. Level Drain directly attacks the metal by reducing their overall efficiency with things that they're skilled in. Unsuccess lowers the enemy's success by 50%. Fire inflicts a damage over time. Hold slows the enemy down and prevents them from being able to defend. Defense Seal also negates any defense that the enemy is able to contain, and Bug also mostly good for turn skipping. So just with Glitch Rifle alone, it makes it extraordinarily easy for Pretend Azel to inflict a lot of things at once for minus chain shot to capitalize on. And as if that wasn't enough, Double Melt Shot on the left arm is another shooting skill which can apply multiple stacks of negative symptoms on the enemy all at the same time. As the name implies, though, Double Melt Shot inflicts 2 stacks of Melt DOT on the enemy while inflicting 1 on self. Now, it is worth noting, though, that most people say, Bakura, doesn't multiple stacks of the same thing counteract? No, they don't, because in Double Melt Shot's case, 2 separate stacks of melt, which means that they're going to be eating 2 separate DOTs at the same time, which makes it extraordinarily easy to break multiple things at once with follow-up attacks after a couple ticks of this thing melting enemy armor down. And even with only having a cost of a one stack of melt to self, I think that's more than fair with what Pretend Azel is bringing to the table. Multi-legs means that Pretend Azel will have fairly decent coverage across all terrains at slightly more beef and slightly tankier compared to biped legs, but with slightly better terrain coverage. But that honestly still doesn't stop Pretend Azel for what he's bringing to the table. A base mobility of 872 is off to an extraordinarily good start when it comes to multi-legs and what he's bringing. An evade at 1015 isn't too shabby, as it means he can dodge or graze pretty much as he needs, but a melee resist of 1354 and a shoot resist of 1618 are both very good numbers, as this means that he can definitely hold his own up close or at range without anything breaking him too easily, and that's not touching on any other modifier that may come to the table to boost these even higher. In the armor department, he is a fairly tanky boy as well, with a head armor of almost 4700, arms almost 4400 each, and legs just barely 4500, so not only does he have good bulk with his resist stats, but also very good armor to keep him from being taken out too easily. Now, this also is not touching on the fact of Pick On, which for every negative symptom he applies up to 5 times, also boosts his leg stats even higher. So for every negative symptom he applies, he gets faster, he gets dodgier, and he gets a lot easier and more adept at keeping his damage low. And given the fact that he can stack 2 negative symptoms at the same time with either arm, he's going to be building these stacks very, very quickly. All this being said though, as a pure set score, honestly, I do have to rate Pretend Azel a pretty solid 8 out of 10 for what he brings to the table. He has several different modes and methods of negative symptoms in his arsenal between Glitch Rifle and Double Melt Shot, even if Glitch Rifle does inflict several of them at random or even overwrite based on what he's bringing. Capitalizing those with Double Melt Shot, Minus Chain Shot, and Glitch Rifle, he can stack a lot of things at once and then capitalize on some massive damage boosts with Minus Chain Shot when he does have the chance to use them. And his heating and cooling between all 3 skills is pretty good too, so he already is off on a very good start in the speed department. And for everyone he stacks, he gets faster like I said, and gets better leg stats overall to make him even more of a threat. The only big problems that he has is the fact that he is triple heavy, first of all, so anyone with the gravity attribute can take him out fairly quickly, and the fact that anyone that is using a stat cleanse on their enemy's side will able to curb him fairly easily. But given the fact that he can stack multiple things at once means that they are going to be working overtime just to try to stay on top of him and keep those ailments off their team at any given point. As mixed parts, I do have to rate him equally at an 8 out of 10 for these same reasons. While Minus Chain Shot basically implies that you're going to be going for a full Plague Master type of build with inflicting several different kinds of negative ailments at once, it does not discriminate. So if you decide to switch out Glitch Rifle for something more consistent, such as, say, Hold, Wave, Tornado, Deathlock if possible, or anything else of the like, you can definitely make use of it very, very easily. And the same can be said with Pick On, which again does not discriminate over the types of negative symptoms applied. It only cares that you're actually inflicting them more than actually what they do or how they work.